Thank you very much, Sarah. Dear friends, distinguished guests, Your Majesty, Excellencies, it is a pleasure to be with you here. And I would need to thank the Robert Bosch Foundation for making this possible. I would like to thank Berhard and his team led by Rafaela and others for being a steadfast partner, a solid pillar on which we leaned as we press forward our shared efforts. A lot will be heard today, and I was asked to put some context, as you will hear stories from the Pacific, from my continent, from Africa, from the Caribbean, but also voices from colder places, from the north, where it's same challenges, same resolve, but different storylines. As you all know, for frontline communities, home is more than a place. Home encompasses all the social, spiritual bonds and practices that tie people to their land, to their ancestors, to their heritage. It is who they are, it is their identity. Regrettably, with increasing climate shocks, it is that very bond that is being undermined, with some regrettably forced or left with no choice than to let go the places they called home for generations. These are the human faces of the climate crisis. We can discuss 1.5, we can discuss CO2, we can discuss many technological and technical aspects. But if you want human faces on the climate crisis, it's those who are the most impacted and those who have to give in and give up almost everything in order to adapt. At the Global Center for Climate Mobility, it has been our mission to work closely with affected communities to enable a positive adaptation journey, because they have acknowledged that adaptation is needed and necessary. And our goal, our mission is how to make it positive and a journey, not a shock. And this relates particularly both to upholding the right to adaptation, but also the right to stay. We, through research, study, and science, can attest today that as it relates to climate change shocks, human mobility and adaptation, people do not want to leave the places they call home. People want to adapt locally. We can have a whole conversation about economic opportunities for a specific group of people, for those who have to join their loved ones and have to reunite, and those who migrate for health reasons and others. But when it comes to the climate shocks and climate change, people want to stay home. And I think it's our obligation as we come together to provide those solutions for these communities to adjust locally. And I have heard it repeatedly, whether in the Pacific, in the Caribbean, or the African continent. People do not want to go far from home. Why? Because there is always the hope that they will go back. Yesterday, we were even discussing some who have left the will or the demand to be buried back home if they happen to leave this world on a different place. All this just to emphasize that as we discuss climate justice, we discuss climate action, the consensus is different as it relates to human mobility. In closing, one hand can clap, and this is why we are today here, to bring as many hands together, to be as loud as together, to celebrate their stories, to acknowledge their journeys, and to bring together all the energies to support them in a transition that has to be just and a journey that has to be positive. Thank you again to the Bosch Stiftung, and thank you again to our distinguished speakers and guests, and thank you for being here. Thank you very much.